Welcome back, everyone. Toyshiz here, and I am back yet again to give you guys another fresh look, courtesy of my friends over at Mattel. And today, we are totally checking out their newest wave, kinda, sorta, wave one, we'll just say, of their new Pixar Featured Favorites action figure line. This is more of like a collector's line of Disney Pixar characters. Kicking it off with Bing Bong, which I absolutely love that movie Inside Out. That is crazy, but that scene... You know what I'm talking about with Bing Bong. Ooh, that really plays with the heartstrings. I really like the packaging for this. It's very exciting, very vibrant. There's a lot going on. The back of the box shows you everything you get. There's a little bit of a write-up talking about Pixar, 25 years. And it shows you, kind of like Masters of the Universe, He-Man Origins, everything the figure does, including that it smells like cotton candy. And I cannot wait to check that out. And of course, here are all the other figures in this wave. Here's the barcode as well. They are starting to hit Target store shelves. Now, next up, we have Flick and Dot from A Bug's Life. And if I'm being 100% honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of that movie. That was right after Toy Story way back when, but it'd be fun to check these figures out nonetheless. And then straight from Monsters, Inc., we have Celia and Mike Wazowski. And of course, you got to do these two characters proper, right? I love that this is a double pack. However, Mattel, I will just say, a golden opportunity missed by not covering up Mike Wazowski's face, right? That whole thing. Look that up. That's a full thing on the internet. DVD packages, toys, all that kind of stuff. And then we have straight from Finding Nemo. This is Crush and Squirt, right? Righteous! I'm going to be doing a lot of that, just FYI. Here's the barcode for these as well. Now, just as a heads up, like I said, this is not technically Wave 1. There have been other figures offered under this whole featured favorite, so if you missed them, you can go back. But yeah, this is, we'll just say, a new start. We'll just say Wave 1. In so many words. So in either case, this is going to be fun. Sit back, relax, grab yourself a nice hot cup of coffee. Make sure to turn on those Pixar movies and have yourself a cry or two, right? God, they know what they're doing there. This is a look at the brand new wave of Mattel's Disney Pixar's featured favorites. So to kick it off, we have Crush and Squirt, the two lovable turtles from Finding Nemo, right? When Dory and Marlin are riding the East Australian current, right after the whole jellyfish incident. But Squirt is a mini figure, but he sure has a heck of a lot of paint going on. Nice deco to him, and a really nice sculpt to boot. I'll give him that all day. They put some speculature in the plastic, which I definitely like. Gives a little bit more life to the character on the underside, and he does have lots of little articulation points to him, which is great when he's surfing along, you know, getting thrown outside the current and come right back in. That's a great scene, right? So nice ball joint articulation at the head and the neck. That's really nice. And the flippers and the fins will rotate and move up and down. And the paint, I'll tell you all day, I mean, it's just beautiful. Now, I do wish there was some sort of way to kind of display these, like a clear plastic stand for both Crush and Squirt, just to kind of have them elevated, because otherwise you kind of have to put the flippers down and have them standing up. Same thing with Crush, right? Bonk. Yeah, that's God, I love that scene. That's so great. Jellyman, Offspring. Offspring? Jellyman. And so on the underside of Crush, you get some really nice sculpture texture elements to his turtle shell. And of course, yeah, you get the little flippers and such, little speculature inside the plastic, which is nice. And on the top side of the figure, a lot of paint going on with the orange all the way around. That's nice, which honestly gives a whole heck of a lot of life to a turtle. There's not a whole lot to these figures, but there's a lot in terms of the articulation, the look, especially in the face of Crush, right? That's just perfect. He's got some nice articulation in the neck, dual points right there, and basically you have a great Michelangelo ripoff in Crush, right? So to be honest, yeah, there isn't a whole heck of a lot to these, and I wouldn't say they're necessarily the best of this wave, but for what there is, for what's there, I think they're pretty cool figures. I would have liked to stand something like that to kind of elevate them, but I think you're getting two nice Pixar favorites. And next up, we're taking a trip to the Bug's Life with Flick and Dot. And what I like about these is that you get a whole heck of a lot of accessories, and I feel like it's a really complete package for these two characters. So you get this whole leaf wrap-up when he's trying to get the water droplet, right? So basically it looks kind of like a wand, in so many ways. You got two little pegs right there. I'll show you what that does. And yeah, it's very nice. Same thing with the leaf base. One, I like that they gave you a semblance of a base. Nice sculpture marks, little veins of the leaf and everything. That's really well done. I actually really like the way that looks. And then you have his hat, which let me just point this out. They have actually painted the vine on the leaf, right? To when it creases the hat to make the shape of it. So I really appreciate that. It's very well sculpted. Again, it's a leaf hat. You get the little marks and such, and then you have the holes where his antenna will fit through. And then you have his backpack. Again, very much using the elements of a leaf and everything in nature, and it just works really well. They've recreated it perfectly. Now, it goes very simplistic with all these attachments right here, right? But it works in the semblance of Pixar, right? It's very much that backpack from that movie, which you can then put on him, and it looks good when you have him all displayed. I would have preferred if this part really just kind of popped off to make it easier to put it on, but I'll show you all that in just a second. Which brings us to Dot. Dot is one of those characters where she's well done, she's well painted, and she's got enough articulation to make her viable, right? Like there's enough going on to go like, okay, yeah, I can totally pose this character around and have some fun with it. So I do appreciate that. The head joint will move around as such. You get a lot of movements out of that. And then she has some shoulder articulation. She doesn't have knees and she doesn't have elbows. But again, she's got nice articulation in the sense of it being a extra accessory. She's basically the accessory to Flick. You know what I mean? The wings don't do anything, just sit there. But they have some speckulature in the paint. She's nice and shiny. She's got peg holes on the bottom of her feet. So she's nicely done in that sense. And then you have Flick, right? So the hero of the story, he's nicely painted. He's got that really cool blue. He's got some speckulature to him. He's got the whole antennas, which are on a ball joint, which they work with you. I'll show you when you go to put the hat on his head. You really need some elbow grease with that. He's got some, well, you'll just say waist articulation, segmented articulation, right, for the whole ant. I do wish you could kind of prop him up a little bit more in the waist, to be honest with you. He'll kick out. He's got knees. He's got swivel. He's got elbow swivel. Nice articulation overall. And just something to point out, every single one of these figures are pinless, right? So that is really nice. Now, when you want to put the hat on, you kind of have to just pinch and slip these underneath, pull them out. I just wish that it was a little bit easier. You don't want to break anything. I don't think anything is going to break, but you run the risk if you're a kiddo and you try to do it forcefully, right? Same thing with the backpack. You kind of just have to work with it. You eventually slip it on like you're putting on a sweater, right? So you have that on. He looks good. He holds and stays pretty well, although I will show you, he gets very back heavy, and that's where the peg holes with the leaf stand come in handy, right? You can kind of see he's kind of falls a little bit back even though he's got the peg holes, but you situate him right and he will look good. Now, with the whole water cone thing, he's got the little hole in his palm. You peg that in right there. He holds it very nicely, nice and stiff, right? Very cool. You go ahead and put Dot right there, peg her into the base. And like I said, it's a really nice nod to A Bug's Life. It's a complete package. No, it's definitely not my favorite movie. It's not necessarily going to be my favorite figures from this wave, but I do think they did a really nice job in creating a core package for these set of figures. Now, from A Bug's Life to A Monster's Life with Monsters, Inc., you have Celia and Mike Wazowski. That's a great two-pack, by the way, right? Not a whole lot going on. I mean, Mike is a giant green blob. Think of it that way. But you do get a couple accessories like this teapot. I would have definitely preferred a lot more paint going on. Something just to kind of elevate it because it's just kind of flat color. But the sushi platter from that one scene in the movie, that's well done. And I love the eyeballs right there on the plate. Well done. This is a fantastic accessory. I absolutely love the way that looks. I'm a big fan of sushi. It has nothing to do with it. But yeah, I just think that that's an awesome accessory right there. And then, so you have Celia, right? And she's got the snakes. All the snakes are rendered beautifully. They did a great job. All little eyes on them are painted white. You got the black pupils. She's painted gray. You got semblance of the eye color. You got the lips. And then as we move down, she's got that really cool scale mail dress going on. Her octopus arms all have the little blue paint all over it. And then she's got some pretty cool bendy wire legs to her. Again, she's what? An octopus, something like that. This is the kind of the weird one right there. But the other two are kind of locked together. But it's really well done. And they all work really nice in the whole bendy wire terms. It's just little nods. Like, these are fun action figures. All the little play features fit within the context of these characters. She's got a little bit of a waist swivel to her. Nothing else moves down below. But then you have single jointed elbows and you got nice rotation in the arms and everything else. They'll spin. It's well done. And again, the paint is very crisp on these characters. She can hold a teapot too if you'd like to do that. Up towards the head, like I said, I really like the snakes. I really love the pattern and the color that they got going on, right? That's really well done just to kind of bring out that life element. Neck rocks. It's a pretty solid figure for Celia Wazowski. Bringing us to Mike Wazowski. Again, not a whole lot to this character. When you see him on screen, he's a green guy, right? A little eyeball. He's got his horns. He's got the big grin on him. He's got some nice articulation in the arms and the hands, and his legs will kick out. And it's just enough articulation to go, yeah, you can bring Mike Wazowski to life. He doesn't need to go overboard. But the main element would be the eye, right? Well, they got you covered on that. This is actually pretty cool. The eyeball can move around and do everything. Now, I do kind of wish that he wasn't midway blink, you know what I mean? Just to kind of, you could change it yourself. But yeah, it's kind of funny when you start moving the eye about and everything else. So it really is the perfect amount of articulation and paint to bring this kind of character to life. He's a big gumdrop with horns, right? So that's pretty cool. Which brings us to the final figure of this new wave, Bing Bong, from the movie Inside Out. And if you haven't seen Inside Out, what are you doing? You got to go and watch that. He comes with his satchel, right? It's nice rope-looking sculpt right there. That's pretty cool. It's very much a rubbery rope. And then you got the whole bag right here with all the little candy imprints all over it. And this opens up, which is actually pretty cool. So you can put stuff in it. Maybe a core memory or two, something like that. More on that in just a second, because the core memory, yeah, he comes with that as well. Now, this is essentially just a marble. It's a plastic ball, right? There's not much to be said, but it works in terms of getting a core memory, opening up this bag, and then putting it inside the bag. So that's a nice little touch right there. I absolutely love that they did that. Now, that's it for accessories. I'm not going to really count the tail, but you simply just plug it into the back of Bing Bong right there, and you got yourself one nice looking character figure. That is really well done. This was the one that I was after. I like the character. I really like the movie. Now, right here in the snout, I would have always preferred that not be broken up as much as it is, but I can see why, because it's a bendy wire snout. Again, much like the tentacles with Celia Wazowski, there is a lot of fun being had with these characters. You get a nice head articulation as well. The paint is solid on this guy. Look at the details of the flower that's on his coat, the buttons painted down to his gloves, the pink. He's made of cotton candy, and he's a cat, elephant, or whatever he is. But the sculpt is there. The paint is there. He's got little feet. That's actually pretty cool. They don't really kick out, we'll say. They kind of kick off to the side, you know what I mean? Which is kind of funny, so you can get him sitting down if you wanted to do that. He'll spin at the waist, which, yeah, that's going to break up the skull. But hey, they put that in there, fine. That's an extra point of articulation if you needed it. Then you got the cat tail or raccoon tail or Tanuki Mario tail, whatever you want to call it. Nicely painted, nicely done. It's a really great looking figure. Again, all pinless. Rotates at the elbows. He's got nice articulation in the hands. He can hold stuff. I mean, they really knocked it out of the park with this guy. Oh, and one other thing is that, hold on. Yeah, I'm not even joking you. They put cotton candy smell in the figure, like they did with Stinkor, Master of the Universe. He smells like cotton candy, which is amazing. So this is the greatest thing ever. Also, the patches on his back, in case I forgot to mention that. They just really went all out for this. I got to give it to him all day. And then you slip on the satchel right over his head and his arm, kind of situated to where it kind of slips underneath his jacket. Looks like it's all situated nicely, and bingo bango. Yeah, I mean, you can't ask for a better figure. In terms of a bendy wire snout, smelling like cotton candy, the articulation is perfect, the accessories are perfect. This is a home run of a figure. Well done, hands down. Great job on this guy. Now, in terms of the scalature, this is definitely one of those lines where you can totally just take the idea of scale and throw it out the window. It doesn't matter. It will never apply. You have ants and you have turtles and you have monsters and you have imaginary characters that live inside of a child's mind. So scale doesn't matter. What's actually important is how they all look as a cohesive property, and I think that they've nailed that in spades. These kind of feel like the Playmates Simpsons figures, not quite as heavy, but in terms of the feel and how they look and how their attention to detail matter. And then you have the paint, which I would say in terms of Marvel Legends, they have a whole heck of a lot more paint going on. Scale around the 6 to 7 inch mark, depending on the character, where Celia Wazowski is the tallest. But I'll tell you that they all look grand together, especially when you have other Disney Afternoon properties within it. This is a great wave of figures in general. A lot of characters, a lot of fan favorite characters that I wouldn't necessarily think that would get action figures. Bing Bong, I would say, yeah, most likely, probably. Flick, another one of those. Mike Wazowski, of course, but Celia, Crush, Squirt, Dot, those characters are given a chance to shine. And for the most part, yeah, it would have been nice to maybe have certain elements here and there added to it, like a stand, we'll just say, for Crush and Squirt. But in totality of the paint, fun bendy wire, the fact that they baked in cotton candy smell to a figure, that's awesome. So you really are getting the total core package of these characters for Disney Pixar movies. And I think that if you're a fan of those movies and you've been waiting for a very cool collector line, I'd love to see what they do next. Because I think if this is any inclination, yeah, you're going to be definitely in great hands. So that's really going to wrap it up for my look at the brand new wave of Pixar featured favorites. And I want to thank the folks over at Mattel for sending these over to give you guys this fresh look. I'll be honest with you, this isn't necessarily a line that I would collect. Lord knows I collect enough as it is, but I was definitely after Bing Bong. So I'll tell you, in so many ways, I'll definitely be picking and choosing characters once they continue. Because, yeah, I'm a big fan of Pixar movies. I really like that Turning Red movie. I loved Soul, and I think I'm one of those few that actually like The Good Dinosaur. That's a great movie. Don't you tell me otherwise. So anyways, I'm going to leave you guys with that. As always, drink some great coffee, eat some great food, but most importantly, remember, and while I like The Good Dinosaur, I'll tell you what, I did not care for Finding Dory at all. The car chase scene? What even was that? Makes no sense. Sea animals driving cars. And when you do, let me know what you found. I'll talk to you guys soon. Adios.